This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest handicapping video. I'm going to cover the Grade 2 Chandelier Stakes at Santa Anita Park for Saturday, October 7th. This is a Breeders' Cup win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and it's also a Kentucky Oaks 2024 points race. And if you're interested in reading my Breeders' Cup articles, head on over to todaysracingdigest.com. Just go over to their website. Go over to the news section. I'll just click the drop-down menu for news. You'll see news articles. Click there. You'll find all of my Breeders' Cup articles. And I will also, in the description in this video, provide links to all the articles I've written so far. Covered articles for all 5 of the Breeders' Cup Friday races. And now I'm getting into the Breeders' Cup Saturday races this week. I did the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile so far. I'm going to cover all the other Saturday races as well this week. So each day I'm going to have a new handicapping article at todaysracingdigest.com for the Breeders' Cup from now all the way up to the Breeders' Cup. So keep checking out their website for all of my Breeders' Cup handicapping articles. And if you're interested in my full card analysis at Santa Anita Park, I'm covering the entire autumn meet. They ran the first week. They're in week 2 now of their autumn meet. They have 6 weeks for their autumn meet. The final week of that autumn meet is going to be Breeders' Cup week. They're going to be running 4 days that week, including both Breeders' Cup days. And I'm going to be covering that annual product at therunawayrhorse.com on my sales page. So go over there for more details. And you can also purchase my Santa Anita Park full cards at todaysracingdigest.com. And we're going to dive into the analysis of this video now. Third race, Santa Anita Park, Saturday, October 7th, 2023. Grade 2, $200,000 Chandelier Stakes, 2-year-old fillies, mile and a 16th on the main track. 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time is the post time. And one big name is missing from this race, and that is Tamara. Now, Tamara, for trainer Richard Mandella, is the early favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She dominated the Grade 1 Del Mar debutante as my top choice last time out. They bet her down. She dominated that race. She looked very good visually. They thought about running her here. Then they said, no, we're just going to train her up to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. But we do have some horses that ran against Tamara last time that are going to be showing up in this spot, including number 1, Chatalas, for trainer Mark Glatt. This is a gun runner filly, an Indian Charlie's the dam sire, and she looked good in the debut. Post 8 in a 9-horse field. She was pressing outside, and then she dropped back a bit. She was a half length back early, then she dropped to a length and a half back, just stayed within striking distance. She was able to wear down the leaders and win by a half length. Good effort, outside tactical trip that typically works well at Del Mar in sprint races. 7 furlongs in that debutante last time out. Post 6 of 12, and she was ending up stalking the pace, sitting a couple lengths back in third for a good portion of the race, and then she started to weaken in the stretch. She finished 4th, beaten 12 lengths. Tamara won by more than 6. Laurent rallied to finish a clear 2nd. Laurent is in this race. Show finisher Gate to Paradise is in this race, and then Chatalas is back as well. So 2 sprints to a route. Antonio Friso gets aboard. Juan Hernandez has been riding. So Friso rides her in here, and I think she's going to be saving ground up on the pace, and I don't think the pace is going to be super quick. At least that's the way it looks on paper. Scalable is next for trainer Todd Pletcher, $200,000 Speightstown filly, and she's a maiden after 1 start. Post 10 in the debut. She stalked the pace, and she finished 5th of 10, stalking wide from post 10, and that was at 7 furlongs. So now the second-time starter is going to have to run a faster race. Mike Smith is aboard. Number 3, Pacific Rose, another maiden. Doug O'Neill is the trainer here. Not this time the sire. Ramon Vasquez is going to ride for the first time. And they paid $125,000 for this filly. And she's 0 for 2, and she hasn't hit the board yet. In her debut, it was a turf sprint at Del Mar, and she was no threat. She just raced in 7th place throughout in that 10-horse field, breaking from an inner post. In her second career start, they moved her over to the main track at Del Mar at 5.5 furlongs, and she was 52-1. And she did outrun her odds at 52-1. She finished 4th there. She missed 3rd and 2nd by a nose. So that was a decent effort. And she was doing her best running later on. So she was 8th early, and then she passed some horses, and she kept gaining ground, and she was slowly gaining on the 2nd and 3rd place finishers, and she almost grabbed 2nd or 3rd at 52-1. So she's going to have to improve, though. Two sprints to a route, but for her, she's going to have to run faster. She's still a maiden. We don't know where she fits class-wise. Pink Whitney, another maiden, and the Doug O'Neill trainee again. Liam's Map is the sire here, and Scat Daddy, the dam sire. Tiago Pereira is going to ride her for the first time. They paid $100,000 for her career debut. She was 6th in a 12-horse field. She was 12th early, passed some tired horses, and she ended up splitting the field The runner-up was the next out winner. She was 30-1 in that dirt sprint at Ellis Park. Her last 2 turf routes at Del Mar, she was 4th, beaten 2 lengths after rallying from last on July 29th, and she was 4th, beaten 3 lengths on September 8th after racing in 7th in a 10-horse field. And she was the beaten favorite last time. So her speed ratings are slowly improving, but I don't know where she fits, like class-wise, distance-wise, and then surface-wise either. So Autumn Chill is next for trainer Keith DeSarmo. This is the daughter of Constitution. Hector Barrios is going to ride this $90,000 filly. And in her debut, she was just out for the exercise. Typical of Keith DeSarmo. He doesn't usually fire with first-timers. He takes his time. He uses races to get his horses into shape. So he did that, got a nice experience run there after she stumbled at the start and raced wide. Second time, a much better effort at 6 furlongs. So she went from 5 furlongs in the debut to 6 furlongs second time out, and she rallied to finish 4th in a 9-horse field second time out. So a decent effort, a nice improvement off of her debut, and then they stretched her out to a mile last time. And she did well, and she won that race nicely. She rallied from 6th place to win going away by 4 lengths under Kent DeSarmo. But Kent DeSarmo is riding a different horse. So that's Keith DeSarmo's brother. Hector Barrios, as I said, gets aboard here. I like the progression. She went from 5 furlongs to 6 furlongs to a mile. And like I said, DeSarmo was just working her into shape and getting her ready for route races. And she did well. So I don't think the distance is certainly any question here. Class is definitely a question, and she'll have to run faster. Gate to Paradise with Kent DeSarmo aboard for trainer John Sheriffs. This is the daughter of Arrogate. They paid $950,000 for this maiden, and more than ready's the dam sire. And I can definitely see her as we were mentioning some earlier maidens. This maiden probably is much more talented than the earlier ones. She was 3rd in her debut. A Chatalas won that race. She was stalking, and she was an okay 3rd of 9 there. And then in that Del Mar debutante, nice effort, post 10. She was rallying wide. She was just chugging along, and she ended up finishing a clear 3rd. Good effort, second time out, better speed rating. So now she stretches out in distance. John Sheriff's kind of like Keith DeSarmo. He likes to race his horses into shape. He doesn't always fire with his first-timers. He uses races as preps, and she's making nice progress. And under Kent DeSarmo, I can definitely see her winning this race. Dua for trainer Bob Baffert, another daughter of Arrogate, and Consolidator is the dam sire, and they paid $400,000 for this filly. She won her debut, and I liked how she showed a lot of determination that day as the favorite. She was dueling, she just kept going, and she was able to put away the other speed horses and hold off the late runners in just a game effort, but it wasn't a fast race. So then when she got into her stakes debut in the Sorrento, she was bet down pretty low. It was more off of a visual and connections type thing because, like I said, she didn't really run fast in the debut. And then she was well beaten in the Sorrento. She was 3rd, beaten 10 lengths there. No threat to the top 2. So Dua is going to be a pace factor here under Juan Hernandez. That could be a good thing if she can get out there and set the pace. She has a bullet workout for this at 6 furlongs, trying to boost up that stamina. So for Dua, I think if she can get out there and get loose, maybe she would have a shot. Laurent, the question for Laurent isn't talent. It's can this late running sprinter go 2 turns? Because a lot of times these late running sprinters, they look really good with that late run around 1 turn. But when they get out around 2 turns, they just cannot sustain that run. She's adding blinkers. We're going to find out how good she is in this spot. She came from the clouds in her debut. She was 9th, 12 lengths back. Even after 4 furlongs, she was still 11 lengths back. And she just came storming home out of nowhere to get up by a nose on the wire at 5.5 furlongs. Not easy to do that at Del Mar. 5.5 furlong, those short races, just coming from nowhere in the last furlong and a half. But she did just that. And then in the Del Mar debutante, I did like her underneath, and she was able from post 11 to rally wide and finish a clear 2nd. Good effort. Maldonado will ride back. He rode her last time. We'll just have to see if she can sustain her run. She's going to sit back, make a run. We'll see what she can do in here. Motet is next. She looks overmatched. Another maiden in here. She was 4th, beaten 11 lengths in the debut, and then 6th, beaten 16 lengths in the Del Mar debutante. The Sorrento was her debut, the Del Mar debutante, and now she's in another stakes race. So she's been spanked twice in stakes races, and now they're going to put her in another stake. I think she really needs maiden company. She needs some confidence. Number 10, Next Right Thing, another maiden. So this race is just chock full of maidens. She was third in her debut, 10-horse field. She broke from post 10, and she just raced evenly throughout. And that was a turf sprint. The Del Mar debutante, they switched surfaces. She was 103 to 1 that day, and she ended up finishing fifth. Not awful considering she was 103 to 1 in that 12-horse field. She was 12th early, and she passed some tired horses. Fifth, beaten 14 lengths. Emily Ellingwood will ride back for trainer Ryan Hansen. So Next Right Thing will try to get involved from off the pace. So a lot of these maidens, I think you can just toss them out, except for the one maiden that I think can win this race, Gate to Paradise. So definitely Gate to Paradise, out of all the maidens, can win this. Laurent, if this one can sustain her run around 2 turns, could be interesting. But she does have a sprint-oriented pedigree, and Practical Joke a sprint sire typically. But I think the Practical Jokes can go at least a mile and a 16th. But overall, sprint pedigree, late running sprinter. We'll see if she's more than a late running sprinter. Dua might have a pace advantage if she can get out there, but she's going to have to run faster. I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with my top choice, Chatalas, number 1. I liked the debut effort. I thought that was solid. They really thought that she was going to get better when distances increased. She wasn't embarrassed, considering Tamara is so good last time. She wasn't completely embarrassed. Not an awful effort whatsoever, finishing 4th in a 12-horse field. So I think now, with that inside post with not a lot of speed in this race, I think Antonio Friso can put her in a good spot behind Dua, maybe get the first run and hold off some of those decent late runners. But Chatalas, my top choice over my second choice, Gate to Paradise, in this Chandelier Stakes. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And that will wrap up this video. And I'm going to be back, and I'm going to be doing the American Pharoah Stakes at Santa Anita Park for my next video. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.